Welcome to Solo Storytime. Today we're going to be reading a book called The Girl Who Figured It Out. This book is about Ironman World Champion Minda Dentler. She tells us a story in her own words, which is really fascinating. This book is also illustrated by Stephanie Diné. I look forward to reading this book with you all today. Now let's get ready for story time. The Girl Who Figured It Out. The inspiring true story of wheelchair athlete Minda Dentler becoming an Ironman World Champion. I was born in a crowded village near Mumbai, India, to a poor but loving single mother. Not long before my first birthday, I became very sick. I couldn't move my legs and my hips had tightened. I was paralyzed. The doctor told my birth mother I had a disease called polio. He told her I would never walk. Without money to care for me, my birth mother brought me to an orphanage to put me up for adoption. She prayed another family could give me a better life. One day, Bruce and Ann Dentler saw my photo and were drawn to my smile. They knew I was meant to be their daughter. Soon after, I flew to Spokane, Washington, and they adopted me. My parents taught me to go after my goals, even if they seemed impossible. You can do it, Minda, my dad would say. Just figure it out. I figured out lots of things that someone like me wasn't expected to do. First, I learned how to walk. After many surgeries on my hips and legs, at 5 years old, I was fitted with leg braces and crutches. Next, I learned how to climb stairs so I could ride the school bus with my sister. After that, I learned how to do my chores like my siblings. It wasn't easy. Sometimes I fell. Sometimes I got mad. Sometimes I wanted to give up, but I never did. Afterward, I was stronger, I was smarter, I was more confident. Even though I could do some things like the other kids, not everyone believed in me and left me out. In gym class, I was always picked last or had to sit on the sidelines. Some adults talked over me because they could only see my disability. Being different was hard. There were kids who didn't want to be my friend because my skin is dark brown or because my crutches and leg braces scared them. The Tin Man, they called me. But I didn't let those people stop me. I wanted to show everyone what I could do. I learned how to play the piano and performed for crowds. I worked hard and made the honor roll every year. I backpacked through Europe all by myself. I even interned at the White House. After college graduation, I got a job in New York City and got married. I had done so much, but something was still missing. I was tired of sitting on the sidelines. I wanted to be an athlete. Then one day, everything changed. In New York City, I joined a running club for people with disabilities. On my first day, I was loaned a hand cycle. Once my feet were set in the foot plates, I cranked the gears and was off. Whoosh! Woohoo! I yelled, zooming through Central Park. I loved cycling, but just like when I'd learned to walk, I had to practice. I made lots of mistakes. I took turns too fast. I tipped over. I got stuck going up a hill. None of it stopped me. Afterward, I was stronger. I was smarter. I was more confident. A fire had been lit inside, and I began competing in races like the New York City Marathon. I felt unstoppable. I was ready to do a triathlon. There was just one problem. I was afraid of the ocean because I didn't know how to swim. Then I remembered Dad's words. You can do it, Minda. Just figure it out. I stopped worrying and asked a coach to teach me. At first, I struggled to breathe and turn my hips, so I focused on swimming one stroke at a time. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Afterward, I was stronger, I was smarter, I was more confident. I could ride my hand cycle for the bike race, but I needed a racing wheelchair for the run. I had never used one before. The bucket seat was uncomfortable and it was hard to break, yet I practiced anyway, pushing the wheelchair up and down the hills of Central Park. Push, 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 roll. That summer, I crossed the finish line of the New York City Triathlon, excited for my next challenge. Good job, Minda. I decided to compete in the Ironman Triathlon in Kona, Hawaii. No female wheelchair athlete had ever finished the course. Could I swim, bike, and run 140.6 miles? Many people didn't think so, but that only made me want it more. You can do it, Minda, Dad said. Just figure it out. I got back to work and trained harder. Over the next 5 years, I completed 10 triathlons all over the world. Afterward, I was stronger, I was smarter, I was more confident. Finally, it was time to compete in my first Ironman World Championship. When the day of the race arrived, my stomach fluttered with excitement. But from the moment the cannon sounded, all my plans fell apart. I panicked swimming in the ocean. My goggles slipped off. I couldn't keep up with the others. On the hand cycle, my muscles burned and my throat grew dry. I wasn't moving fast enough. I was not going to make the time limits. As I reached the top of the 15-mile hill, I was pulled off the course for being too slow. My race was over. I had failed. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe it is too hard, I cried. I thought about quitting triathlon forever, but my friends and family would not let me. Just figure it out, Minda, Dad said. You always do. For the next 9 months, I swam, biked, and ran more than ever before. I worked with a team of coaches. I ate healthy foods, I lifted weights, and I went to bed early. Most of all, I believed in myself. By the day of the race, I was stronger, I was smarter, I was more confident, and I was ready. On October 12, 2013, I treaded water, waiting for the race to start, along with 2,000 other triathletes. My heart thudded in my chest and my stomach was in tangles, but I couldn't wait to swim. With a bang, the cannon went off and I burst through the waves. The Pacific Ocean stretched ahead, but like always, I focused on swimming one stroke at a time. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Then I was onto the bike ride through the scorching hot lava fields. Cyclists whizzed by, but on my hand cycle, I could go fast like them. Whoosh, 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 click. Whoosh, 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 click. Whoosh, 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 click. After hours of riding, my stomach was in knots and my arms ached. Every bump in the road hurt. I checked the clock and shook my head. There were too many miles to go and not enough time. I wasn't going to make it again. I can do it, I yelled. I just need to figure it out. I gritted my teeth and cranked the hand cycle up the last hill. Minda Dentler has made the bike time limit, the announcer shouted as I rode into the transition with 3 minutes to spare. At last, I had reached the final part of the race, a marathon. I shuffled into my racing wheelchair and was off. Push, 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 roll. Push, 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 roll. Push, 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 roll. Whoa! The sun had set quickly, covering the road in darkness. When I reached Polani Drive, my stomach dropped at the sight of the steep half-mile hill. You can do it, Minda, I whispered. Just figure it out. I gripped the wheels tight and zigzagged up the hill until I reached the top. Exhausted, I pressed on for the final stretch. I was almost there. Just a few more pushes and... Minda Dentler, you are an Ironman, the announcer shouted as I crossed the finish line. I did it! A paralyzed, orphaned little girl from India became the first female wheelchair athlete to complete the Ironman World Championship. If I could do this, I could do anything. I am so proud of you, Minda, Dad said. You never gave up on your goals. Thanks, Dad. I figured it out. The end. Thank you so much for reading this amazing book with me, The Girl Who Figured It Out. This story is so inspirational, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come and check back often as I read new stories each week. Have an amazing day.